Hi, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Get Crystallized show. And like crystals, strong women are made under pressure. And I have not only my beautiful co-host, Coach Janae, but we have a special guest today who I'm really, really excited to introduce you all. But before I do, just a quick recap. We have been doing a series called Road to Pro, where Coach Janae and I have been, really tracking and sharing with you our journey to, as women over 40, to step onto the fitness competition stage. And this, although you might be thinking, there's no way I would ever do that, we were sharing nuggets about maybe you're a woman who's just trying to release weight, maybe just trying to, wear a bikini for the first time in your life. So we've taught a ton of value over the past few 10 or so episodes. So I want to encourage you, number one, if you're not subscribed to the Get Crystallized show, you can find us on Spotify and on Apple. And make sure that you catch up. There's about 10 episodes or so where we talked about everything from how to get better sleep and, hormones and our favorite healthy snacks when you are, on a, when you have a goal of fat loss, tons and tons of amazing stuff. And today, we have a beautiful guest, Rosalia. She is one of the recipients of our scholarship. Woohoo! Congratulations. We had over 55 applicants. And in that process, I was really looking for specific quality in their answers. And after, the application process, then I would book an interview, and also the quality of their answers during that interview. I was really listening for certain characteristics. I'm looking for women that are coachable, who, where they're not looking for a quick fix, because what we teach within our program is really a transformation. It's a complete mind, body, spirit overhaul. And I was looking for women who are ready for a complete change in their lifestyle, and so met with Rosalia, and she blew me away. First of all, her answers to her questions, it was like an essay. Every single answer was such clarity and honesty, transparency, vulnerability, which I resonated with, because it is the women in our group who understand that your strongest suit is actually knowing when to ask for help and being vulnerable. And so I firstly read that in her questions, and then in speaking with her throughout her whole journey. And I felt that, because I'm looking for committed women, right? Because I speak to so many women, and they tell me they want these results, but their commitment doesn't match the results that they want. And so we wanted to invite Rosalia to just kind of share her, I think it's not even a week that you're in our program, right? And so what we wanted to do, what we thought Coach Janae and I thought would be really cool, is to track your journey. So your interview you now, and then probably midway, and then at the end, like towards, and hopefully you're going to continue your journey with us, Lord willing. But, in terms of the 6 months, we wanted to kind of follow your journey, right? So we have to start from the very, very, very beginning. When I had asked you, how were you aware of us? How did you know about us? And I loved the fact that you said, I have you in my ears listening to your podcast when I run. And I'm like, yes, because that is the sole purpose of the podcast. I even say in the copy, throw on your runners while we expand your mind to shrink your waist. And that's my tagline, because I want these women to be working out, to be walking, to be running, while we're teaching them as I interview the best of the best in various industries, while we teach tips and really entertain them, might as well get a workout in at the same time. So, because I, Coach Janae, I know you and I, we both, we are obviously athletes, and personally, I love listening to podcasts while I'm walking or working out. So it brought me such joy when you shared that. So from the very beginning, you saw that we were offering 5 scholarships and you applied. So I would love for you to start, just with, why did you apply? Why did you apply? What is, what made you, where's your health right now in that you decided, you know what, I want to apply for the scholarship? Let's start there.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me on. I really, really do appreciate it. This is a new beginning for me and a new chapter. And I'm very, very inspired. I've been inspired by the podcast for the last year. Every time I go running, I make it a point to re-listen to many episodes, because the one time it just is not enough for me. I have to always go back and say, wait, what did she say? Or if you have a guess, what did she say? Because I'm a note taker. So I love to do that. But long story short, I come from a background of 25 years ago, on or about, I had back surgery. I had a ruptured disc. And since then, the doctor that did the surgery said, you're not going to be able to run anymore and your life is going to be different. And I've always been a runner. And since that surgery, I've always ran, by the grace of God. I was able to run, of course, not as I used to, but I still run, and my legs, I feel, are a bit healthy. So in the whole transition of me truly and wholeheartedly listening to your podcast for the last year and scheduling many second opinions with different neurosurgeons, with my last visit being, well, it looks like you're going to have a surgery that's going to be about 8 hours long. And we're going to have many different specialists, because we're going to have to go in through your stomach. And you run the risk of still not being okay. I had to really that was like a defining moment for me. And I was like, well, I'm over 40 years young, you know what I mean? And I'm only getting younger. So what am I really, right? What do I really want to do? And so you always hear there's this stigma behind losing weight, right? You're always comparing yourself to different women and saying, well, and doubting yourself as a woman, right? Because we see so many things and it's become normalized. And so when you normalize that in your brain, it takes a very big effect on us, and not just eating wise, mentally, it's drainful, and mentally, it's like you haven't even started, but you already gave up. And so when I was sitting in that room, I'm looking at him and I'm like, well, an 8-hour surgery. And then I thought to myself after that visit, well, how about in all these transitions of second opinions, I've never heard any doctor ever look at my demographics, look at my height, and say, well, let's start with your obesity, right? With the fact that you're like 50 pounds overweight, yeah, and you're like 5 foot tall. How about we start there, instead of starting where I've already lost hope, yeah, if I just believe in what men say, and me saying, well, yeah, I'll just, I'll run the risk of the surgery still not working, and having this second surgery with no guarantees. So I sat in my car and I was crying, and I said, I'm crying because I feel like Jesus is talking to me. And so I started hearing the Holy Spirit and saying, well, remember the podcast you're listening to? And I'm like, yeah. And like, he just starts, it's crazy. He just starts putting all these things together for me mentally. And I'm like, well, I could be feeling very down and depressed and, rushing to maybe go get some ice cream. But yet instead, what I did was I went back to the podcast, and it really means a lot to me, because for a whole year, I kid you not, I put my AirPods in and I was like, well, it's a group of women that are over 40 that we all need inspiration. And it's something about your voice, Coach Crystal, that I was like, well, she's talking to me, And I said, one day, probably not now, I'll get to meet her. And here I am.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I just want to say, there's a couple of things that, one, that you said that you were a note taker. That was like, yes, because we need women who are coachable and who are students, because in our program, we call it, you're literally going to university, because you're going to learn all about you. The second thing that really stood out for me as a God-fearing woman myself, I believe it is a core value of mine that our body is a vessel that houses the Holy Spirit, and the Holy Spirit deserves a mansion, not a rundown hotel. And so, and when you shared with me in your interview, isn't it odd that none of these doctors, none of these specialists advise that I lose weight first? Because I mean, at 5 feet, 100%, there's gonna be a lot less pressure on your back when you release 50 pounds.
Yeah.
So, I was like, okay, Lord, you know what? You drew her to us. That is obvious. And so, we are the ones who are blessed, honestly, to have you within our family. Honestly. Yeah.
Very much. All right. Now, you did kind of touch a little bit about this, but if you were to kind of like sum it up or think about, in a sentence or one word, what is your current health and your mindset at right now when you're first joining us?
The courage to win. It's just really the courage to win sums it up for me. The courage to win. And that's all I want to do right now.
It's what I love about that is it takes courage to step outside of your comfort zone, because everything that you're going to learn and do within our program, it's going to be outside of your comfort zone. And too many women are afraid of doing that, whether it's one more rep, whether it's, making time to meal prep, whether it's showing up to our mindset coaching calls, our support calls, and participating, right? It's outside of your comfort zone. So, I love that the courage to win, the word courage, because you have to be courageous. You cannot spell the word challenge without change. And the only way to do that, to change, is to be courageous. Because we're, too many women are so comfortable being uncomfortable that they unfortunately it takes being sick and tired of being sick and tired to finally do something. So, I'm really, really, really happy that we're taking this route first, because Lord willing, we're not going to have surgery, once we release that 50. So, you are obviously a week into our program, but just from that, how would you say our program is already different just from the week that you've already been with us?
I must say the whole thing of getting your adding to getting your mindset straight, and hearing other vulnerable women share, right, their courageous stories, their testimonies. It's amazing because we've normalized in society, wait, we don't talk about that, right? Or wait, let's do a Photoshop instead of you losing those 10 pounds. Let's Photoshop that photo, And so just hearing the fact that we're so authentic and we're bringing these topics to the table and we're having conversations about them without feeling judged is amazing to me, because that opens the door for me to say, you know what, I know it's just a week in, but I promise you I have a real big testimony, and I'm just going to go because, I'm led by the Spirit. And I personally believe that I was put in this place for a reason, and I may not have all of the answers right now, but I promise you, I feel like I have a team of women that are a real good backbone for my foundation.
Amen.
Absolutely.
One of the things that we always say in our call, and I always share with my women, no one will ever cast the first stone. No one, because no one has the right to. And, when it comes to, and I understand that, where, and as women too, we tend to be attached to what other people think and say and how we're judged. But one thing that we teach in R3 is that other people's opinions of you is none of your business. And the only one that truly matters whose judgment matters is his. And for us as your coaches, what's beautiful about our program is that every single one of my coaches are graduates from my program or are current students. So they know exactly how you feel, right? And so they won't judge either because they were there. Yeah. And so was I. And so, I love that you resonate with the vulnerability, the community, and that we're here all being authentic and just everyone's coming from a place of integrity. So I'm really, really happy that you drew that in your first few days with us. That's awesome.
Yes. It's a community. That's wonderful. Yes. Now, what are your current goals that you want to achieve? And, how do you think that we can help you?
So I want to achieve losing 50 pounds that I need to they need to come off, there is no negotiating that. And how you guys can best help me is with continuing to be and share your walks, right? Because your walks are inspirational for the times when it's 6 p.m., 7 p.m. and it's windy outside and I still haven't worked out, but I'm like, nope, because I heard this story. And if they can do it in snow and thunder, right, there's no excuse, right? And having 4 or 5 kids juggling that and having all these hats, I feel like when I see Crystal, when I've seen, when I've tapped into information, I'm like, wow, this is amazing. The transformation that I see, not just physically, right? Because I believe truly every woman is beautiful. Yeah. But this physicality of you're beautiful from within and you're sparkling outside is amazing to me, and I really, like I said, in the last week, I've truly seen that. And I'm going back to like way back videos because I'm like, fundamentals, and if you believe in them, and it's, you can go further in your mindset. The more you say it internally, the more it becomes a reality, but you have to practice that and you have to not give up. You have to really exercise those muscles in our brain, and it all starts and it ends with our mindset.
Oh, I love it. And that is exactly why our tagline actually inside our program is that mindset matters most, right? And 100%. And our girls are trained and schooled to learn that practice doesn't make perfect. That's impossible because there was only one who was perfect. And that was because not only was he 100% man, but he was 100% God. So that being said, sorry, all of your perfectionists out there, you cannot be perfect. But what we can do with practice makes permanent. And so not only is our goal, because your goal is our goal, is Coach Janae's goal, is our team's goal, is our tribe's goal, not only is your goal our goal, but we want you to not only release the weight, but never find it again. And that's through learning the new habits that are going to support this goal of yours and make it now a lifestyle, right? And that's the key word. This is for life. So just to wrap up our interview, I would love I do have actually a few interviews lined up this weekend. So if you have not filled out the application, you can still apply and squeak it in there because we only have two spots left. And from the applications I've read, I have a really good feeling they're going to fill up. But if you want to apply, there's still an opportunity. So Rosalia, I'd love for you to share, if someone is listening to you right now, we've got a couple of our ladies live and they may, watch the replay later and they're still tentative about even just applying. What would you say to that woman?
Do it anyway. You have nothing to lose. You do it anyway. You have everything to gain and nothing to lose. And you have to bet on yourself because I promise you, no one else will bet on you as much as you bet on yourself. In all honesty, that's the way I get to sum it up. It's believing in you that you could take this step. And if all else fails, right, you still have the podcast. There's other ways, other times that they're going to come back around again. It's maybe not time right now, but I promise if you're consistent and you stay on top of it, I just feel like the sky's not the limit.
I love that. Actually, I was saying yesterday in one of the Mindset 101 calls is that, you start with this goal and, it seems overwhelming, because that ceiling seems so high. But through our program, when you learn to not only trust the process, but trust yourself to complete the process, eventually that ceiling is going to become your floor. And so, I'm excited for this ceiling to be your floor. So we are going to definitely do a midway, right, Coach Janae?
Yes.
We're going to do a midway interview to share your experience within our program, how it's going, your, results so far, the transformation you've experienced so far. So that for sure, we're going to put in the books 100%.
Love it.
So we can kind of follow your journey. So that being said, I just want to say thank you to, of course, my beautiful co-host.
You're welcome.
Our lovely guest. And Rosalia, what the beautiful thing is, there may be a woman right now listening with us in her ears, listening to your story and saying, you know what, if she can do it, why can't I?
Right.
Why can't I? And I truly believe that your test is your testimony, and whatever feels like your current mess right now is your message. And I cannot wait for you to share your message. I cannot wait for you to be, I said to Rosalia, you're going to be our next poster child, right?
Yes.
That's what I'm looking for. I want some really like transformational, like before and afters, like, and I said, girl, you best be all in because I'm not only are you betting on you, I'm betting on you, but not in a way to challenge you, but because I believe in you.
Yes.
And you have a whole team of coaches that do too. Your goal is our goal. You have a tribe of women now who are your sisters. And, you will fail because you're not perfect, but we learn to fail forward. And that means because you have so many hands who are going to lift you back up and be like, okay, Rosalia, dust yourself off. What was the lesson? Let's move on. You know what I mean? And that's what it means to be a part of our tribe. So I'm just excited.
Me too.
My hairs are sticking up. I can't wait. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, Coach Janae. I think we will try our best. We also want to maybe it would be pretty cool if we got all of our recipients of the scholarship on. I will see if I can book another one for next week so we can at least follow 2 journeys. I will do that. So make sure you guys tune in next week on the Get Crystallized show. Again, we're found on Spotify and on Apple. If you have not yet, subscribe and leave a 5-star review, please. Love that from you guys. Thank you so much, Rosalia.
Thank you. Bye.
Everyone, we'll see you next time on the Get Crystallized show. Bye, everybody.
Bye.